Strategy 4 is to develop your Resilience Toolkit of self-help SSRIs. And if you're not familiar with any of those terms, that you may scratch your head and think, what's this one? And so there is a bit of mystery there. Let me explain. And I'm going to do this in 3 parts. That first I'm going to look at the idea of a Resilience Toolkit. Then I'm going to be looking at the idea of the self-help SSRI, and then bringing those two together, I'm going to be looking at how you develop your personal resilience toolkit of self-help SSRIs. So let's start with the idea of a resilience toolkit. All the strategies that we've been looking at so far are tools. They're things you use that help you achieve a purpose. So the purpose is strengthening resilience. These are things that we can use, the strategies that we can use that help raise our water level of resilience. So in a sense, all of the upward arrows are different types of tools. Now imagine trying to put up some bookshelves without a screwdriver or without screws, that you can feel defeated. And it's a similar way that when you face an adversity, a challenge, an obstacle that you can't find a way through, you can feel defeated. You can feel your mood dip, your enthusiasm, your confidence dip. But with the right tools, you may be able to find a way through. That finding your way through obstacles, finding your way of climbing out of a pit can be much easier if you have some good tools to help you. The letters SSRI are commonly associated with antidepressants, the most commonly prescribed antidepressants being a group called the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. But just really to emphasize that choices we make and actions we take also have antidepressant effect, I'd like to introduce the idea of the self-help SSRI, and to use each of those letters to stand for a different category, a different area within your resilience toolkit. So I use those letters SSRI to stand for strategies, strengths, resources and insights. Let's look at each of those in turn. Just think of this as 4 different directions to look in. First of all, I'm looking at what are strategies, are things that I can do. Strengths, it's like I'm looking more inside and saying, what can I draw upon inside myself? With resources, I'm looking more outside and I'm saying, where can I turn? Where can I seek support? Where can I seek something that will help me? And then insights, I'm just thinking of, if I look at things this way, I might have one way of looking, but I can also look at things this way, or I can look at things this way. And insight is a different way of looking, a different perspective, like a piece of wisdom that helps you move forward. So I want to introduce a very practical way of drawing out your self-help SSRIs to identify the tools already available to you. And the way to do that is to think back to a time when you were facing something difficult, but you got through in a way that you now feel pleased about. So what was that? Just think of a time. And then ask yourself, well, how did you do that? How did you get through that difficult time? And in particular, looking at these 4 different areas, looking for, were there any strategies you used? Were there particular steps that you took that you found helpful? Were there strengths that you drew upon and that really helped you get through? Were there strengths that you recognize inside yourself that helped you through that difficult situation? Were there resources that you turned to? Resources that really made the difference? Perhaps people, perhaps places, perhaps even pets. Were there insights that guided you? Perspectives you took that you found helpful? So you can use this as a way of identifying and building up your toolkit, that if you recognize what you're already doing, the resilience strategies, strengths, resources and insights already available to you, this gives you a starting point that you can review your current resilience tools and look at what are the ones you find most helpful as a way of making sure that you have greater access to those. But what we're doing with resilience training is that we're adding to those. We're looking at how you grow, cultivate, develop the tools you have, but also how you add to those as a way of enhancing your resilience toolkit.